I'm Sami, and this is the Career Kickstart Show. I'm super excited because today we have Lakshmi on the show today. Now, Laura is a digital nomad, a yogi, a retreat host. But, you know, a lot of things that I find very fascinating about Laura is that unlike most digital nomads, she is not someone who's like a 19-year-old who has no responsibilities and just decided to grab a backpack and travel. She is someone who started the nomad journey later in life, and I'm really interested to just get her story about how she kind of went from an interpreter to this sort of yogi retreat all around, you know, international badass. So Laura, I know that wasn't an accurate description, but if you would, how about you share a little bit, I guess, your elevator pitch or just a little bit about your work?
Okay, well, hello. Thank you for having me, Sami. My elevator pitch, I don't even know what's a pitch. So starting with that, I just threw myself into a business without knowing anything about business. I only knew about yoga. I only knew what I loved doing. That was practicing yoga, teaching yoga, being free, traveling the world, being outside in nature, and that's what I did. I chose to follow my heart. I've worked for 18 years as an interpreter, which was a job that I quite liked, but it wasn't 100% what made my heart happy. And one day, at the tender age of 41, I decided that was enough. I still had 20 years in front of me, so I thought, okay, I can go on like this, and one day wake up, it's time to retire, and what I've done with my life, the same thing day after day. Or I can just take the leap of faith and go for what makes me happy, and that's what I did, and I'm so happy that I did. And I didn't know what's a business plan, I didn't know what's a pitch, I didn't know anything about business, advertising, marketing, nothing, but I just did it, and it's working. So now it's been 3 years that I'm on the road full-time, nomad, digital, not really digital, because my work is in person. I teach yoga and I organize retreats, but a lot of things I can do from anywhere in the world from my laptop. So yeah, semi-digital nomad, but really full-time nomad. And I'm doing what I love, and I hope to keep doing this for many, many more years.
So Laura, you were an interpreter for 18 years. I assume that your interest in yoga started earlier. Why did you decide that yoga was something that you really wanted to pursue?
Yeah, it started almost at the same time when I started working as an interpreter, because it's a very stressful job. You have to be very quick. You're live all the time. You have to think very quickly. It's very stressful. Any little mistake can become something huge, and you're thinking about it all the time. So I was looking for ways to calm me down, to bring me back to myself, to relax, basically. So that's how I found yoga, meditation techniques, and I started dedicating more and more time to my yoga practice. First it was like a couple of days a week, then it was longer, then I took some unpaid leave, 3-4 months, and went to India, immersing myself in the practice of yoga. Then I went back to my job, but every time I felt like, okay, this is not enough. It's fine to go for 3 months away, but I want to do this full time. It's not enough. It's just like a band-aid, a few months here and there. I wanted to do that full time. So as I still was working as an interpreter, but I already trained as a yoga teacher, and I started teaching simultaneously. So I had my day job and then my yoga teaching job. Or it wasn't really a job, because I didn't do it for money. I did it for myself, to practice and to really to see if that was what I wanted. So having those things simultaneously made my decision easier, because I knew that I loved that. So yeah, that was the story.
Okay. So it sounds like it was a choice to do yoga, which is interesting, because a lot of the digital nomads I meet, they want to be a nomad and then they find something that they can do to travel with. Mm-hmm. Did you accidentally end up with the nomad people just because you're already doing yoga? Like, how did you end up in this wacky world of digital nomads?
Yeah, when I started, I didn't even know what was a digital nomad. And exactly when I left my job, when I left my life and everything that was settled, and I started being a nomad without knowing that I was to become a nomad, because I didn't really have a plan, just traveling and learning more yoga and teaching along the way. That's when I met my partner exactly 3 years ago. And he's like a real digital nomad. So he works on his computer 10, 12 hours a day, as much as he can. He only needs good Wi-Fi, good coffee, and that's it. So that's how I learned about this digital nomad world. And yeah, I thought that's an interesting crew. So somehow I tagged along. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's always good for every coworker space. And just context, I met Laura at the co-working Bansco, and I feel like it's good to have someone who teaches yoga at these spaces because we're all hunched over like little goblins.
Exactly.
You know, like I always worry that one day I'm gonna wake up and I'm like gonna have like a weird hunchback and everything. I used to be a lot more flexible when I was doing retail and babysitting and I was not working on the computer, but now I feel like my body is like crystallizing into like this terrible laptop pose. Do you feel like when you go to these co-working spaces, you can be like, oi, you need to stretch now?
Yes, but I think that's true for everyone, because nowadays, who doesn't work on the computer for so many hours? So we all need that. Me too. I include myself. And also, I wanted to say something. You were talking about flexibility, and everybody says, "Oh no, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga." This is something that I don't like hearing, because everybody can do yoga, no matter how flexible you are. Especially if you're not flexible, that's why you need to do yoga. Yoga is not about putting your body in the most strangest positions. It's about breathing. It's about presence. It's about being here and now. And if you can breathe, you can practice yoga.
I mean, I do breathe. I've been breathing for the last 30 years. So I got that good. I'm really good at existing in a spot in time. It's good that you say that it's not about just putting yourself in positions, because I've been in yoga classes where like I can't, and I'm just like, someone help me. I can't get in or out of whatever weird position I got into. I actually got reprimanded in a yoga class because I ended up making my friend giggle because we were in like cobra pose. We were right across from each other, and I just like started sticking my tongue out at her. We started giggling. The yoga teacher was like a Sunday school nun, just being like, no laughing in the yoga class. And I was like, I didn't know yoga was serious.
That's sad. No, it doesn't have to be serious.
Because I have a good time. Like when I exercise, like whether I usually do dance classes, and I like to have a really good time, or else exercising kind of blows.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be about being yourself. So if you're someone who likes to have fun, why not?
Yeah,
it's allowed.
It's allowed. Cobra pose. I was pretending to be a snake.
You're allowed to laugh. I'm laughing is yoga for the soul. Also.
That's good to know, because that's my favorite way to do pretty much anything, is with a joke and a laugh. And just let's switch gears, Laura, and talk about the fact that you do retreats. Now I'm looking at Laura's website right now, which is lauralakshmi.com. And you have quite the itinerary of retreats set up. You have some retreats in Greece. You have some retreats in India. What is it about retreats that you like organizing? You know, because it doesn't sound like with being a translator, it's not like you were an event planner. Why are you attracted to doing retreats?
Yeah, well, first of all, because I love traveling. Greece and India are my all-time favorite countries, so I know them quite well. And I found some beautiful little spots that it's really a pity not to share them with other people. And actually, I love organizing things and looking for special treats, and going on a retreat is something we all need to do. When I worked as an interpreter, I used to go like 2 or 3 times at least every year on a retreat, and that allowed me to have a clear mind, to get away from the daily stress, of course, and to see things with detachment, and maybe take decisions more easily. And lately, that's something I'm very proud of, actually. In my last retreat, there was a lady who was actually like so fed up with her job, and you could see she was suffering. She hated it. She was like in a really, really bad space. And during the retreat, we talked about it. She had her space to think, to walk, to swim, to practice yoga, to journal, to just to think things through. And a couple of days ago, I received an email from her that she quit her job. So it makes me so happy to know that. And she's like all excited. She quit, and now she's looking for something else. And I'm sure she will shine, and she will find something that makes her happy. We are not doomed to spend our lives in a soul-sucking job. That's not why we are here in the world. We're here to shine. We're here to be happy. We're here to follow our calling. So why should we stay stuck in something that we don't like? So I think in a retreat, you have the space to mentally detach from the day-to-day life, from the stressors, and find the courage, the strength, maybe another point of view, and take big decisions. So that's why I like to organize retreats.
Oh, that's awesome. And I totally agree. Life is too short to be miserable 40 plus hours a week, especially when there is a world of options out there. Some people do end up putting themselves in these golden handcuffs because they're like, well, I make good money and blah, blah, blah. What else could I do? And it's like, if you have some imagination, you have some faith in yourself, you'd be surprised the sort of careers that you can build. Now, I read that you are also a certified life coach and you do NPL. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, NPL stands for Neuro-Lingual
Programming.
I was going to say project management. I'm like, that's not it at all.
Yeah.
What does that precisely mean? Because it's like word hypnosis, right?
Yeah.
Like,
not really hypnosis. It's about about seeing things in a different way, seeing how our language, how the way we talk to ourselves and to others affects our filter, how it filters our reality, how it affects our day-to-day life. So it's, in a way, it has to do a lot with yoga, because it's being mindful of how you're thinking, what are you saying, what are you projecting, what are you expecting. If you're expecting the worst, then probably will happen. If you're expecting the best, then chances are bigger that the best will happen. So that's, I'm quite passionate about that too. And taking NLP and coaching courses, it's what helped me and what pushed me to take my leap and to put a date on when I wanted to start my new life.
That makes sense that you're attracted to NLP just because you were a translator. So you've always known the power of language. And I understand that completely, because before I went nomad, I actually spent a few years working with homeless people and HIV patients and everything, helping them find work and employment. And one thing that I did notice, that when we were working with a methodology called cognitive behavioral therapy, a lot of it had to do with investigating how our inner dialogue was and being able to refute some of that, because sometimes people really think that they are their thoughts. My personal belief is that thoughts are kind of the clutter in your brain. They're in your head, but thoughts can come from pretty much anywhere, and you have to be like a stern border collie with some sheep and kind of, herd them about a little bit, or they'll just run roughshod over your life. But that's a tangent. Do you find that your work as doing these coaching courses, working with NPL, do you feel like that has made it so much easier for you to do these sort of retreats?
Probably because I just knew it was possible. So I didn't even think about, okay, let's try and make a business plan and see the numbers and all that. No, I just knew I can do it, and I did it without knowing how, but I knew I wanted to do it, so I did it. And so I was focusing on the results and on organizing something beautiful for people to go there and to experience something extraordinary. And it happened. And somehow I'm amazed, because I don't do any advertising or marketing or anything. It all goes through word of mouth, and it's working quite well. So yeah, but sometimes you don't have to overthink things too much, because that can be also a big obstacle in the way to making your dreams come true. If you start making too many numbers or thinking too much, then maybe it's not going to happen. So maybe I wasn't quite ready, but still I did it because I wanted it so much, and I knew it's possible to do it.
Yeah, I can understand that, because a lot of people, they get bogged down in so many details.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes, and that happens with some of my clients, and I have to, because I do the career coaching, and I ask them, are you looking for evidence that you can do it, or are you looking for evidence that you can't do it? And I think that's really important, because some people, they're trying to psych themselves out, you know, even though maybe like it might be an unusual dream that they have, or maybe it's something that nobody in their family has done. But it is true that sometimes if you just go for it and you already had skills, it's not like you had never done yoga and you decided to do a yoga retreat or something. Exactly. You know, you already knew stuff that you could do and you had value to give, you know, so it's always good to try to do that big leap. But I know that there's probably some people who are listening who might be wondering how they might be able to do something similar, whether it is just to get into planning retreats or to become a full-time yoga trainer. What would be your best advice for someone who's interested in pursuing a similar career path?
Like organizing retreats as a yoga teacher, traveling as I think the most important thing to have first is a student base. So before becoming a full-time yoga teacher, I was teaching for 2 years in the same place. I was combining 2 jobs, and that way people started knowing me. I had students. I had like a couple of hundred students who knew me, and once I took the leap, they were ready to follow me everywhere in the world almost. So that's important. If nobody knows you, it's quite difficult to organize a retreat, I know, in Bali, who's going to come if they don't know you. So first they have to know you, they have to trust you, that you're not going to run away with their money or do a disaster or something like that. But when you have a few hundred people who know you, who like your classes, who trust you, then it's easy to start organizing retreats, and it's all word of mouth, and it all goes quite easily. But of course, you have to be organized, you have to be reliable, communication is very important. I think when people are trusting you with their holidays, with their time, with their money, then you really have to be reliable and give them what they are expecting from you, and even more. So that's very important.
Do you, for these retreats that you have planned, these are in Greece and India, which you say that you've enjoyed quite a bit. Is it really important to go to a place to make sure you scout out the vibes or the location?
Yes, I do that all the time. Every time I travel, I put my planning hat on, and I look with critical eyes. Would that be a suitable place? Is it good enough? How's the transport? How's the beach? How are the beaches? How are the food options? All that, it's very important. So I would recommend to organize a retreat in a place that you know well and that you feel comfortable. So that's less stress for you. You know the place, you feel it's your comfort zone. So that makes it much, much easier. So for me, I speak Greek, so I choose Greece because it's easy for me. And the places I always I go first to check it out, to check the accommodation, and to have a feel for the place. In India, of course, I mean, I would never ever even try to organize something in India without going first there and a few times, because India is hardcore.
Yeah, no, I have not been to India yet, because that's next level traveler, and I'm not at that level yet. And for folks who are listening who are thinking, well, I can't really do a retreat, I can't get to India or Greece, I know people who they do retreats in places like Wisconsin, or they do retreats in Indiana. It's just that they choose places that have good vibes and
Of
they
course.
create
Yeah.
a lovely environment. So if you're thinking, oh, well, I don't speak Greek, I'm not like an international, jet-setting woman of yoga mystery like Laura, there's definitely ways where you can do that in your own backyard. It doesn't matter if you are in Oxford or you're an Oxnard, wherever you are, you can, make it happen.
Yeah. Cozy accommodation, good food. Good food is very important. Sometimes like people, they don't even remember the yoga teacher, but they remember the food. Food is super important. And yeah, cozy space where you can, like a big table where people can sit together and have this community feel. So you don't really need a lot. It doesn't have to be luxury, but nice homely touches where you feel welcome, where you feel like it's a family and you create community. That's the important thing in a yoga retreat. It can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be like some exotic place.
Yeah, I would agree. I've been to a number of conferences, and now that I've been a nomad, I've looked over the places that I've liked the most, and it's honestly always somehow connected to the people that I meet there and the community vibes that I feel.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of very beautiful places that are on people's bucket lists, but if I feel like I don't have that community connection, it almost like, yes, you can be like, oh, this is lovely, but it doesn't have that same sparkle in your memories as being like, oh, well, I, had a lovely glass of wine with, an amazing person here, or, oh, me and my friends, we saw that together, so I would definitely agree. And for just a recap for people who are listening, for Laura's advice for planning retreats is, one, to go the place, scope it out, make sure that you're not overthinking this, trust yourself and your own training. Good food, cozy environments, community feeling, and make sure that you also have a base of students before you start going full time. Now, Laura, I feel like you've given so much great information to the listeners. So for those who want to know more about you and your retreats, could you just share a little bit about how people can find you on the web?
Yes, so you can find me on my website, lauralakshmi.com. I don't know, will you put the link? Because
yes,
it's a bit
it'll be in the show notes.
I have also a YouTube channel. It's the same name, Yoga with Laura Lakshmi, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook. You can find on my website all those informations. I have 2 courses on Udemy, Yin Yoga for Digestion and Yin Yoga for Sleep. That one is free. So yeah, feel free to look out for those courses, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Laura, for being on the show. Now,
Thanks for having me.
It's been fabulous. And for the folks who are listening, you can't see this, but Laura has just this lovely smile, and it just radiates from her face. So I can definitely see how doing yoga, even if you're like me, where you feel kind of like an awkward bowl of porridge whenever you try to do yoga, she would be able to smile and encourage you through.
It's for everyone. Everybody's welcome to do yoga as they are. Come as you are. That's the important thing.
Oh, I love that. Oh, thank you so much again, Laura. Namaste. And thank you all for listening. As always, I'm Sami Gardner, your career specialist. Bye. Change your career, change your life at CareerKickstartAcademy.com.